Hey everyone, it's your friendly neighborhood online business gurus here, Joe and Mike. Today we have a very interesting episode for you guys. So, in my YouTube feed, there's been a lot of stuff about fake gurus online and I don't know, people are just trying to trick you and take your money. And really, it's a lot of negativity out there. As far as me and Mike go, I mean, really, we just put the content out there. I mean, we're not standing in our cars or doing anything ridiculous. We're just coming at you with the content. If you like the content, I mean, it should be. I think the content speaks for itself. Is what we're trying to say. But this episode is not really about us and trying to convince you that we're legitimate gurus or something like that. Instead, I wanted to kind of focus on other people who have online businesses, who teach online businesses that are totally legit, that we've learned stuff from. Because, despite all of the people out there who are just, going, what's the word, Mike? What's the word? Is it flexing? Is that
Clout chasing, thirst trapping.
holy
You can
cow?
say you can say a lot of things,
There's more words than
but
I expected.
yeah, that's just the tip of the iceberg. But yeah, I mean, when you're new, it's hard to navigate the space because, you know, before before you're led down a certain path of you find someone you like and then you can go in you can go in that direction. You kind of what do? You go on YouTube, you search drop shipping, and then whoever comes up, that's who you're gonna watch. And if you don't have a level of discernment for what information is legitimate and what's not, then you can find yourself, wasting money on courses like we've certainly done, and it could be not great. So we want to kind of give you our experience as to, who we know directly or indirectly in this industry that is definitely legit. And their information is definitely worthwhile.
Okay, cool. So the first one I'm going to bring up, we bring him up all the time. I mean, he's not like a huge name or anything, but I mean, he's pretty popular in the blogging space, and that's John Dykstra from FatStacksBlog.com. The thing I like about John is unlike all the other people who teach SEO, and they're very focused on gaming the Google algorithm, and you got to make this tweet, you got to have this thing on page, and you got to build links in this way. John doesn't really do any of that. John is really heavily focused on systems and putting out content quickly, and I think that's what really makes John stand out to me, because we like to focus on systems and not just tactics. And I know John's advice for us has made a very positive impact in how we not only run our content sites, which we've seen some massive improvements on in the past year, but how we run our dropshipping stores as well. What do you think?
Yeah. And we personally seen a few of John's sites, and we know he's legit, but just to other people that may not matter. What I think the information that John provides to indicate that he knows what he's talking about is that systems-based approach, because he's not chasing after each algorithm update or relying on these little strategies to do this and that. When you're actually at a high level, you cannot be bothered to just try and chase these little upticks and get these little victories and gamings of the system. You just have a system that works consistently over the long run, and the angle that John speaks from is that. So yeah, I mean that's really the number one indicator, no matter what, that someone knows what they're talking about, is if they're talking about a high level system that you can just consistently implement, and it will produce long-term results.
Yeah, I think the big difference is the people who are flexing, in quotes, so to speak, they're trying to come at you with a secret. And really,
Yeah.
the secret, there really is not that many secrets. There are methods to doing things, but really it's about building a system. And we're going to get into more of that, but I just wanted to add that. So the next person on the list is Ezra Firestone. Doesn't do the same stuff that John does, but he's very well known in the e-commerce space, and we've actually met him before, and we did another podcast about him, about how he told us to stop drop shipping, and we obviously disagreed with him there, but nonetheless he is totally legit and provides a lot of good information. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, for someone in the e-commerce space, he is particularly transparent, and that is because he is so far ahead that he doesn't care to, let you know what stores he runs, his businesses, and that's certainly a sign that he is a high level individual when it comes to e-commerce. And we don't share our sites for different reasons, and that's because we're not private labeling, so like we need to protect ourselves a little bit more. But we do try and be transparent by putting out content and really sharing as much knowledge as possible. Ezra also, he does put out a lot of free content, and so you can go on his website, and he has different trainings for a bunch of different things. I mean, he's even worked with Shopify and other big names, but we've gone to his conferences, and you could just tell his strategies are very in depth. And also, if you pay close attention to different content creators, a good indicator as to how well of a system someone is running, like you can tell Ezra has a team behind what he's doing. He's not just making these videos in a suit, trying to look flashy, and then just cheaply uploading them. You can tell he has, he probably has a content management person. He has a video editor. He has a video production team. So that image isn't everything, but when you tie it with the information, then I think it speaks volumes.
Yeah, for sure. So the next one I have on this list is Jim and Ricky from Income School. And, these guys, they run, what's it called? They run, affiliate and ad-based sites. Project 24 is their flagship course. And, at first I was skeptical about them when I first started watching their content, because they took such a, why? It's because they took such a different approach than everyone else. Like they were the first ones that kind of popularized the methodology, like don't use keyword research tools, like rely on the information that Google gives you themselves instead. And when I first saw that, I mean, granted, we weren't doing that well at the time, but I was like, nah, get out of here. Get out of here. But I mean, the truth is, we kind of take what they say, combine it with a lot of stuff we learned from John and, systems we put in place ourselves. And I think the stuff they teach just works well. I mean, I think they, again, they keep it very basic. They are focused on system creation, but more towards individuals starting out than on a higher level business basis, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think they have a very particular audience that they try to go after, and that is the kind of new person who maybe they're not as savvy with the internet or, things like that. Like they're very hand-holding step by step. And I'll be honest, I don't agree with their business model. I think it's just, so essentially, they're a big component of writing your own articles at first and doing this for probably a long period of time, longer than I think we would recommend. And in my opinion, the level of income that you can get out of that is not worth it. But, they're transparent and they're certainly genuine. They talk about their sites and they do things very interesting, and we take their information and apply it ourselves. But it's okay to have differing opinions with people.
Yeah. It's not that their stuff doesn't work or anything like that. It's just not. It's not the way that we would approach it from a business perspective, and a lot of that is in part to the fact that we're not just starting out. For us to take their approach compared to other things that we could put time into would just be a waste of time. But I mean, if we were at our full-time jobs and doing, if things were a little bit different, then it might be a different story. But again,
if we had just found them, say if that was our first exposure to doing content sites, then it may have been beneficial for us. But at the stage that we were at when we found them, their methods.
Yeah, I wish they were the first. I wish they were the first person we found when we were doing content sites, because I don't like the way we started out. I feel it would have been way better if we started with their methodologies. But anyway.
Yeah. And that's how it is when you don't know who to take advice from. You have to kind of scratch and claw your way to the right information. You need to, look at a lot of things and try implementing whatever kind of sticks with you. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Okay. So the next person I have on the list is Doug Huntington. You'll notice a pattern here. Another systems-focused guy. Very, very into the. He is more into keyword metrics. Just for a little bit of background, he also does. His focus is Amazon affiliate niche sites. Period. And his flagship thing is the keyword golden ratio. He has a free playlist with WP Eagle that he teaches. Very focused on systems. He's a project manager professional. I'm not sure the terminology there, but he's a professional at project management. So needless to say, he's all about breaking down the basics of making a successful Amazon affiliate site into digestible steps and outsourcing each one. And I think that's the name of the game. I mean, he's got something that he does. And he does it well. It's as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else to add there, or not really?
I think you really hit it on the head. I mean, that's his he was our first exposure to keyword golden ratio, and I think that did wonders for our business. And that was just something that he gave out for free. Yeah. So, a lot of times, a lot of people want to hide kind of it's people that have these secrets, and if you pay money, you can get access to the secrets. I think that kind of a flag as to,
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And just to, let's, before we move on to the next person, which I think you're going to want to talk about, I want to dive a little bit into that. So I don't want the audience to think that when we talk about like our ads or something that like, we're not really withholding like any secrets when we talk about it. It's just a matter of like, it's very nuanced. That's the thing about it. And you need to like, it's not so much as we teach people secrets, but we try and teach like intuition, if that makes sense.
We teach strategy, we teach nuance, we teach, how to learn skills. Yeah. You can go and try and look up stuff online, but essentially, in my opinion, when you buy a course, you're paying for everything to be laid out step by step in a manner that makes sense, that you can follow along and then essentially gain the knowledge. And so even if you watch free content, people will, we've certainly talked about a lot of our ad strategies on free content, but when you talk about it for free, people don't even take it seriously most of the time. And there's no way for us to take the time to spell it all out without, having to charge for it. So,
yeah. So, the last one, or I don't know if this is going to be the last one, but I'm sure going to have
I have another one after this.
All right. So, James Schramko, probably not as well known as some of the other names we've talked about, but still a very big influence on our business nonetheless.
Yeah, I think we model actually a lot of what we do from James Schramko, and we certainly talk about him a lot, but he is, I think, more of an OG in the online business world. And a lot of people, I forget all the names, but even someone like Ryan Levesque, who's pretty big in the industry now, Ezra Firestone, these were all like, these people all had mentorship by James Schramko. And I think he was really the one to kind of put an emphasis on outsourcing and really being particular about your time.
Yeah.
And just making that your own time management a very heavy priority.
Yeah, he's kind of like, it kind of makes me think of like the internet marketing Illuminati, like
he's definitely in it.
He's behind the scenes, like pulling the strings of the, but he's not that well known. At least he's not that popularized.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he's also a big proponent of just systemized content. So, a lot of what we do in terms of the content that we produce, not just for the podcast, but for our businesses, has been very streamlined. And I think that was inspired by James Schramko and then later on refined by people like John Dykstra.
Yeah. Especially the way we put out stuff for Build Assets Online is, it's something that took shape over a while, but, now it's like we get on here, like you said before we started the call, lights, camera, action. The call gets recorded. We have someone that does a little bit of editing, just putting our faces side by side and making the screen on YouTube, converting it to MP3, for a podcast. I'm still making the thumbnails right now. I'll just make a bunch of thumbnails in bulk. She puts it on the podcast thing. I upload it to you. It's all very streamlined, and it all gets syndicated with as little clicks as possible. That's the point.
It's almost like, so his book, Work Less, Make More, which I definitely recommend everyone read. I feel like it's almost a Rosetta Stone of sorts of online business, because I always find myself going back to a lot of those principles in there. Like what are we doing right now with the podcast? Or, I was asking myself this a couple months ago. It's like, okay, how can we improve it to that what we're doing is just more streamlined. It's easier. We just come in, we do the work, and then the rest of the little stuff is taken care of. So
who was the other one you had?
So my last submission is Ben Settle.
All right.
And so if you're not familiar with who Ben Settle is, you can certainly Google him. You can sign up for his email list at your own discretion. But that's really all he does. Ben Settle is focused on copywriting, email marketing, things of that nature. And I didn't think about him at first, but he's actually someone who's very hard to distinguish between like a fake guru and someone who's legit. And I think that's because a lot of people who do the sly kind of even on the side of scammy copywriting they read Ben Settle, and I think they try and emulate what he does. But once you get to a certain level of kind of internet marketing IQ, you can tell he's really the one who kind of sets the tone, and people read him and they take what he does, sometimes even verbatim, and they try and apply it to what they do.
At this, I think once you hit a certain, like you said, once you hit a certain IQ, it becomes like entertainment to see like how they're doing the copy, how they're saying this, how they're saying that. Sorry guys, we got cut off there. My hard drive ran out of space, but
taking too much action.
That's right. But yeah, we're just talking about how, Ben Settle's stuff, it just becomes like entertainment once your internet marketing IQ is high enough.
Yeah, so we're subscribed to his monthly newsletter, and it's like a physical newsletter you get in the mail. And, I'll just be reading it sometimes. I'll see like these subtle things that he does to get people like, even if he's like shamelessly promoting himself, it's almost funny how good it is. And you can read it and you can actually get a lot out of it if you really pay attention to what he does and you don't get sucked into him trying to sell you or anything like that. And I think that's part of it. It's so entertaining that you're actually willing to read through all this sales copy, and some of it isn't sales copy, some of it is useful information. But that's just my tidbit on it. And also what I'll say is, Ben Settle comes from a line of, I guess you can say, marketers that descend from Dan Kennedy, who is like really the one of the forefathers of modern internet marketing and direct response marketing, as you would call it. People like Russell Brunson and just a lot of big names started out by going to Dan Kennedy seminars, and I think he created a lot of what the modern internet marketing space looks like today.
Yeah, so to wrap this up, Mike, this all kind of stemmed from, a comment. Well, it stemmed from a lot of things. But the point is that we wanted to put out there that, when you're looking for, I hate to use this word, but when you're looking for your guru, in quotes, that you're going to follow and, kind of do your first internet business, like, what should you look for? Like, how do you know that, like, this is going to be the right path to go down? And the truth is, you don't always know. We've bought courses that haven't really benefited us recently. And actually, I think one of the ones that was not that good that we bought lately was a real estate one about Airbnb, but that's another story.
Certainly. And I'll say, like, the number one tip for deciding or kind of discerning these types of things is free content. I think the more free content that people put out, the more you're able to make a decision for yourself.
Yeah.
If people are just running paid traffic to webinars and that's really all they're giving you, then what do you have to go off of? Everyone else is doing that. And in this day, you really need to kind of build trust with your potential future customers. And if someone is not willing to do that with you, then in my opinion, they're not deserving of any potential money that you would give them.
Yeah. So one thing I want to add on to that is that if someone's putting out a lot of free content, I mean, kind of like what we're doing right now, it's important to consider that if you are like faking what you're doing, free content is really, really hard to scale because like, yeah, we've tried to do videos where like when we first started, we like didn't really have our footing yet as to how we were going to like start build assets online. So like we would try and sit down and have a script and do this whole pre-recorded thing. And it's really hard. It's really hard. It takes like
it's
hours.
exhausting.
Yeah, it's tiring, it's hard, but you know, with a lot of free content, like for us to be able to get on here and just talk about internet marketing for like however long each episode is, like week after week after week, if we weren't actually doing it, like it would be impossible. Like it would be, like I might as well just go get a job at that point. Like there's no, it would be ridiculous.
Yeah, for us to not know what we're doing, be total scam artists, and to still come on here every week and just completely BS, I think is a little bit ridiculous.
And if we could, you know what? If we could do that, then you should buy our stuff because we got some special thing going on.
Yeah, that's something to learn from.
Yeah. That's another thing to add, Mike, is that, you know, I just mentioned we bought a course. It was like an Airbnb course, and it, you know, we're not doing good with it. And we bought many courses that we haven't done well with, but it always is something to learn from. And you'll be surprised how many things come back. Oh, I learned this little tidbit in this course that I couldn't pull off. It comes back years later, and like, oh, maybe that's what that he or she was talking about.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, I think we've about covered it.
All right, so we'll wrap it up here, guys. Don't forget, join the free Discord. Link on how in the description. Don't forget to get our free course, Online Asset Playbook, buildassetsonline.com/playbook. And if you want to work with us one-on-one, we have a very affordable way to do so at buildassetsonline.com/membership. Basically, you get a private Discord channel with me and Mike, and we can help grow your business. So check that out, buildassetsonline.com/membership. And that's about it for this episode. We will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Take it easy.